But yes, MCJ was now a release code, and my first thought was that I was curious if Monstercat was going to be stepping into doing more regional releases, which, while it is a cool concept, also had me a bit personally concerned about the nature of accessibility in music. I would say if you guys like more of this, let me know, but I don't know what else I can do. I'm not going to start traveling the world listening to exclusive region lock tracks, and this is also the only Monstercat region lock track, so it's not even like I can do other ones. Monstercat, don't do this, please. Mr. President, a second region lock track has hit the record label. For those of y'all who don't know, I went back to Japan. Originally, this video was just gonna be like 2 minutes long, and it was just gonna be me actually figuring out how to play the Aiobahn remix of Chin Up in Japan legally. And then I came home, I got sent on a bit of a wild goose chase because somebody told me that there were 35 region lock tracks on Monstercat Silk in Russia. I found them to be no merit, but in the whole process of these shenanigans, Monstercat actually released a second region locked track. If y'all haven't heard the news, on April 9th, Monstercat released a China region locked cover of BEAUZ, Miles Away's, and RYYZN's track Never Let You Down. I don't know how I messed up this part of the recording, so don't ask me. I originally said that this was a cover, but it is actually a VIP. While the original track was more in the realm of house or slap house and featured English vocalists, the Chinese variation in production features vocals from Shirley, Chen, and delves into the realm of techno or trance music. It's also a different key and a different tempo too. If you have not heard about this at all, it's because pretty similarly to the Japanese region locked EP, there was really no news about it on Monstercat's main socials. As y'all may remember, on Puppet's socials, he talked about it pretty briefly, he had an interview for it, and was generally more acknowledged than what I feel like this cover has been, which has been pretty much left to its own bubble. If you're on any of the main social medias, Monstercat's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the likes, you're not gonna find anything. And I haven't really found much on BEAUZ's socials either. It is possible I might have missed it. That is until you check QQ Music or NetEase or Weibo. If you've never heard of these platforms, these are Chinese DSPs or distribution platforms and social platforms, but for the East Asian and mostly Chinese market. And it is here where you will find the release. And it's not some unofficial free download like some other artists would have for alternate versions of their music. This has the backing of the regional Monstercat accounts. It has its own album cover, and it even has its own video with the actual Monstercat visualizer. If you go to QQ Music and you try to play it, you get errors which when translated say, you know, you cannot play this song, you're having an error, or you're in the incorrect region. Or sometimes it just does not work, or it'll prompt you to log in. For the sake of this video, I'm not particularly interested in making an account to experiment with this. And part of that is because if you go to Weibo, unlike the other platforms, you don't need to be in China to listen to the music. I'll even include a link for anybody who's interested in checking it out, but you can see that this is an official and verified account from Monstercat, and this is the real deal. That said, I don't know if this is some sort of outlier situation. I don't know if Weibo is supposed to be region locking me and for some reason it's fine, or maybe for whatever reason Canada is allowed. That said, if I had a nickel for every single region locked song on Monstercat, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but I guess it's pretty interesting that it happened twice. Will I go to China to listen to the song? I mean, I guess I don't really need to. Like I said, you can listen to it legally, and there's probably gonna be other people who are going to rip it now that they know about this and put it onto other socials. But I did think it was really interesting that this is somewhat of a repeated precedent now. I still don't think this is going to be something that Monstercat's going to be doing more often, but I mean, who's to say they won't do it again? I'm going to end off this episode with a video that I recorded when I was back in Japan playing the Aiobahn remix. Before I get to that though, I just want to slide in my obligatory Spotify slander. One cool thing is that if you are traveling, you are able to keep the country of origin on your Spotify account. So for example, I'm Canadian. When I went to Japan, I was able to continue listening to music that would be considered region locked to Canada. If there is any, I wouldn't know if there is. But while I was in Japan, I was able to switch the region to Japan. That said, if I was to stay in Japan for longer than 2 weeks, if I had not changed my region to Japan, I would be then forced to change my region to Japan, which makes sense. But when I came back to Canada, I didn't change my region back to Canada. I kept it to Japanese, and it was kind of interesting because I was able to play the remix in Canada because I had a Japanese Spotify account. That was until 2 weeks-ish later, I was forced to change my account to Canadian. I actually haven't done it yet, but until I do that, I'm not allowed to log into my account. The only reason I haven't done it yet is because A, I don't use Spotify that much, but the second reason was just because, as I mentioned, obligatory Spotify slander. I think it's really annoying that if you pay for a subscription, you can circumvent region lock to a degree. At least that's my understanding. Isn't the whole point of region lock to enforce regional laws and rules? Why would I be able to pay to circumvent it or to extend that period where I'm allowed to listen to music from other countries? Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna switch back to about a month ago when I was in Japan. I hope you guys like this sequel to my previous video where I traveled 10,000 kilometers to listen to a region lock song. Now I've traveled in total 40,000 kilometers if you include round trips. The most expensive Monstercat release, second most expensive, unless I count buying an NFT for the Infected Mushroom track, which I have not done. I would consider it, but it's not up for offer, so it is what it is. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye. What's up, y'all? If you guys don't remember, about a year ago, I actually came to Japan expressly for the only reason of listening to Aiobahn's Chin Up remix, and totally because of no other reason. It's not because I wanted to see the country, see the sights, see my girlfriend. No, I just wanted to listen to that one song, and I was very disappointed because I couldn't. But as you guys can see here, I'm literally in Japan, and the remix is still grayed out. I was under the incorrect notion that they had removed it from streaming platforms. What came out to be is that you actually had to go into your Spotify settings, as some commenters pointed out, and actually change your country. I was, pretty naive of me to believe that Spotify would have just switched it for me. If you guys actually want to check this out, I'll also include a screenshot on the screen. But basically, you go down here to your settings, and you can just switch to your country, Japan. Look at that. I don't know why for some reason Canada doesn't show up anymore. Canada was there when I tried this earlier. I guess I'm no longer Canadian, I'm now Japanese. But what that does mean is that I can pull up Spotify and play this bad boy. I thought they just took it down, and I did see that there were some articles that had listed that sometimes songs, when they're removed from Spotify or streaming platforms, the song will still show up in the playlist or in the EP, even if the song is no longer available for streaming. Sometimes people have downloaded it for offline streaming and it will still appear for that reason. But in that case, yeah, this is like one of those, how to download Adobe Crack 2024 Reel, not clickbait, but instead it's how to legally listen to a Life in Japan EP. If you guys don't know anything about that EP, it's a region-locked EP from Monstercat, and I would definitely recommend just check out the video. It's gonna be somewhere on the screen. Anyways, I gotta head out and catch my flight. Shout out to my girlfriend who's behind the camera helping me out with this. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.